All right, guys. So if you're watching this video, it's because my friend said it was okay to tell this story. I had a friend call me up not too long ago, like, I don't know, like an hour ago. And she told me that she took her son to the hospital and he had the Gardasil vaccine. So I was just like, why are you calling me? Because you already did it. So I actually got a little heated with her. And I had to kind of take a step back and remember I was in that situation where I was in a doctor's office and I was intimidated to take a vaccine that I really didn't want to. And because I didn't have the knowledge that I knew now, I didn't have the guts to fight back. And my thing is, I've seen so many people's lives be destroyed by vaccines now because my cousin is autistic due to the MMR. My best friend's son is autistic, and I watched that happen from the MMR vaccine. And I had a friend that was paralyzed by the Gardasil vaccine. Not to mention, when I did research, I linked my own autoimmune issues to vaccines. So I'm not about vaccines, like, at all, okay? And then through, groups and conferences and meetups I've met friends. Now I have quite a few friends that have autistic children because of vaccines, or children that have died, children that are, have cancer. I mean, there's so much that's linked to vaccines. And my goal is, my thing is, I'm so outspoken because I don't want anybody to have to go through this. And I just think that most people are not given, all people are not given enough information. They're not given all information. Information is being strategically, purposely held from them and manipulated. And so they don't understand what's going on. So my story was, when I was living in Taiwan, I'm getting out this cab and I slip and I fell and I bust my head on the pavement. I went down. I open my eyes and there are these dudes just standing over me, speaking Chinese, and I'm just wobbly. I sit up and there's just a pool of blood, right? And just being me, like the psycho workaholic I am. I'm tutoring this business guy privately, by the way. So I'm going up to his job and I'm bleeding out of my face. And they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, no, it's just a cut. It's just a cut. And I'm like, blood's in my eye and everything. And they're like, no, go to the hospital. I'm like, no. Then you better go. So I go. And then the doctor's like, "Do you want a tetanus shot?" And I was just like, no. And at that time, I hadn't gone that deep into my research about vaccines. So I knew that maybe some were bad, but I didn't have the stance now that I don't like vaccines at all. My stance was at radical. It took some time to get to the point that I'm now. But anyway, the doctor's ching, ching, chong. And then the translator is like, "He said, if you don't get the vaccine now, if you get home, we won't help you." And I was like, oh my God, so I'm in a state of trauma. I'm bleeding out of my face. I'm in a country where I can't speak the flipping language. And I have this, this incident where I am, I'm worried about vaccines. I don't know, and I don't have enough information to fight back. So what do? I take the damn vaccine. Now, thank God I didn't have a reaction, but knowing how they work and how you can have late results with the vaccine, and, it could possibly compound the autoimmune issues I'm dealing with now. So I drank cilantro shakes for a month. I swear to God. Because cilantro is good at chelating heavy metals, getting them out, binding, with the heavy metals and helping you detox throughout the body. Maybe that helped. I'm hoping it did. If you ever see the movie Trace Amounts, the guy, in the documentary is about a guy that had a bad reaction from a tetanus vaccine. So lo and behold, I do research on tetanus, and I realize that, tetanus, it's a spore and it's only found in farm poop. It's very rare. You don't really need it. If you do get tetanus, there are other natural ways that you can combat it besides the vaccine. And just because you get the vaccine doesn't mean that it's going to prevent you from getting tetanus. So, it just really got me thinking about how A lot of people are in that situation, right? And my friend has kids. I'm not a mom. So she's looking out for her kids, right? Like she's going to be like, you know, and a lot of my friends back in the day when I'd start posting all this stuff on my wall, they're like, why should I listen to you? And I had to get over myself because I have to realize where they're coming from. They're going to put their kids before me. So why would they listen to me? You know, I'm not a mom. I don't have kids. I'm not their kid. So they're going to be like, F you, you know, like, why should I listen to you? But the thing is, a lot of doctors that, or all the doctors, I would say, that speak out against the safety and efficacy of vaccines don't learn this stuff in medical school. And what they do say is what they do learn in medical school is vaccines are safe and effective. The mantra you hear over and over again, it cured polio, it cured smallpox. They save lives, and they learn the schedule, but they don't learn the ingredients. They don't know that there haven't been any long-term studies on the whole vaccine schedule. They don't know that the manufacturer does not test for carcinogenesis, which is the ability to cause cancer, mutagenesis, which is the ability to mutate your genes, and the ability to impair fertility. Now, the pharmaceutical industry does studies on the safety studies. They fund most of the studies, which they have patents on, to say that vaccines are safe and effective. They control the curriculum for the medical schools, and they influence the medical schools by donating money, and they actually write some of the books that doctors study from. So if they're profiting from this, why would they say that their product is bad or it's ineffective? Now, when you have independent studies that have nothing to gain from, saying that vaccines are bad, there's a lady named Teresa Deisher, who's a discoverer of heart stem cells. She's a stem cell researcher, cellular and molecular biologist, and she did independent research and found out that the human cells, the aborted fetal cells that they use to grow some of the viruses in the vaccines, are actually integrating into human DNA and causing problems. Okay? There are studies that have found oncogenes, cancer-causing genes in the vaccines. Like for the flu shot, I know they use like eggs, and some other shots they use eggs. And they found chicken leukemia in the eggs, but they can't filter that out of the vaccines. There's another video. I'm gonna put all this in the links, so believe you me. There's another video of a woman who worked in insurance, and she sent she starts sending information for medical insurance to a lady named Marcella Piper Terry, who is the creator of Vax Truth, who is actually a scientist, by the way, and a mom and a scientist. People act like scientists and doctors can't be parents, but whatever. But she sent this to her, and what the information sheet showed was through the medical records that women that were having vaccines had a miscarriage like right after. So she was able to catalog this information. The day before they had a miscarriage, they had a vaccine, and she has records, like lots of records of this, and she sent them to her, and they showed them. So I'm gonna put this video in the links. So there are no long-term studies. There is evidence that you can that it's causing mutagenesis, but it's like if you have a vaccine and then it gets into your genes and mutates, then your child can be affected by it that way, and you pass it on to your child, because they're saying all this, the autism epidemic, it's genetic, but it's an epidemic. How can there be a genetic epidemic? That's an oxymoron. So I have a lot of really I have deep respect for the doctors that come out and have done their research, because they have to really give up a lot. A lot of them are, they're at risk for having their licenses revoked. A lot of them get death threats from the pharmaceutical industry. And a lot of them just have to give up their egos. And I mean, those are the true healers. Those are the real doctors, because they take an oath. They take an oath to first do no harm. And I think the doctors realize, that come out and realize about vaccines, they realize this. They realize what they are trained to do, and a lot of them, they feel guilty, and a lot of them say that they cry, and it's devastating for them, because think about, like, you're spending your whole life in this field where you are trained to help somebody, but you're doing the exact opposite. It must be devastating. I do have sympathy for doctors to a certain degree. Now, if you're just arrogant and you think that you're, that nobody knows more than you because you're a doctor, that you can't learn anything, then you can go, like, you know where you can go, okay? I'm trying to keep this video clean because I want this one to be spread a little bit further than, I'm trying not to, I don't think I curse. I think I'm doing good. Okay. So, I have to realize that, and a lot of parents are very intimidated. A lot of people that are non-doctors are intimidated by doctors, and thank God now I'm not intimidated by doctors. I know that, I realize that they've gone through a lot of training, but you have to realize that doctors aren't omniscient, okay? They're not all-knowing. They don't know everything, and they're not perfect people, So I think this is kind of like the crux, where the way the system is set up, people depend on the fact that a lot of parents too, they are very, very busy, and they don't have a lot of time to go through all of this information. And if you think about it, anything that we've learned about vaccines has all been through sound bites, right? It starts when you're a child. And, as a teacher and going through children's books, I would always see references to vaccines. I found a book with Barbar the elephant. You see it on the Teletubbies and Sesame Street. And then you see it in the ER, like medical programs on TV. I mean, we're constantly getting bombarded and conditioned to accept vaccines. Even in, like Star Trek, they have like vaccines. It's supposed to be the future, blah, blah, blah. Vaccines are still around, So people, have to realize how they consume information and think about where they get their information, and take responsibility to really research as much as they can about this, so they're not in a position where they're bullied into taking a vaccine, which could later down the line, maybe they might not have reactions now, but now, it's being linked to Alzheimer's and cancers and stuff. So just because you don't have a reaction right when you get the vaccine, you're putting chemicals in your body that your body was not meant to process, and they cannot detox. And if there's a cumulative effect of these chemicals, then it can lead to all sorts of autoimmune problems. And as far as autoimmune diseases go, adjuvants and vaccines. So what happens is there's an antigen, right? Like the measles, right? The measles is the antigen, the measles virus. It's put in with chemicals and all these other things. There are always adjuvants that are added to the vaccine that helps the immune system create titers. So it's designed to create a faster antibody response to help you become immune to the vaccines, because that's how they measure how you're immune to the vaccine, by your antibody response. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, your antibody response. So the mechanism of vaccination is meant to keep your body in a state of hyperinflammation, which can lead to all sorts of autoimmune diseases. That's like indisputable, because when they created the Jenner style vaccination, that's what technically it does. It creates, inflammation in the body, because that's how they have to keep the titers going. But it can hyperstimulate any part of your body. So there's inflammation in the brain, right? You have brain autoimmune disorders linked to the brain. You have brain autoimmune disorders linked to the liver and to the heart, I have asthma, so bronchial tubes, or to the lungs, or to whatever part of your body. And that's where the genetic component comes in. You don't really know. There is a genetic component comes in, but it has to be a trigger. Right? So whoever gets the vaccine could be triggered in a way that they don't know, but it's still a trigger. It's still a response that's keeping your body in a state of hyperinflammation. So maybe you might not get paralyzed by the Gardasil vaccine. It might not mess up your spinal cord, but later down the line, you could get cancer, or you could get Alzheimer's, or you could get this, or you could get all of it, or you could get autism right away. It just depends. So there are no studies on this. This is what I'm saying. They don't have a gold standard where they do a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study. They do that for everything else, but they don't do it for vaccines. Why is that? Why won't they have a vaccinated versus unvaccinated study? Everybody that has children that are unvaccinated are the healthiest children. They might get a cold every once in a while, but they're the first to get over it, and they don't have any autoimmune issues. So, and autoimmune disorders can be caused by other factors in the environment, but I think mainly vaccines is huge because it's a trigger. So yeah, I just want people to be informed. You know, I even had a guy in the comment section was like, I don't know how much truth you bring to vaccines. I was like, well, but he goes, but I like you and you seem cool. I was like, thank you, but I really want you to look into what I'm saying. I know it's going to be a lot of work, but in the end, it'll be worth it. Okay? So I'm just trying to help people. I swear to God, like, I'm not getting paid for this. Like, I've lost so many friends. I've lost like all my college friends because I'm an anti-vaxxer. They just like completely, like, you know, like disregarded me as a crazy person. I've lost my relationship with my brother. So it's not a popular topic. It's not fun. I mean, some people have come to me and have managed, I've given them information, and when they've done that, when everybody always do the research, they don't vaccinate. Okay, when they look at both sides fully and honestly, they don't. And if you have the knowledge is power, and then you understand how to ward off disease and ward off colds without vaccines, it's not rocket science. It's actually called biochemistry. But, you know, we're trained in this society to trust the allopathic doctors and just to throw all other types of medicine aside. And if you look into how that happened, if you go way back into the Flexner Report and the Rockefellers, you would see that this is a systematic process that got people dependent on this type of medicine. I like allopathic medicine. I'm not dogging allopathic doctors, but I think they're only good for trauma. I don't go to any allopathic doctors anymore unless, like, it's a physical trauma, like car accident or broken bones or, you know, drive-by shootings or, you know, physical injury, but not disease, because everything is inverted. They're not taught properly, and I haven't had success. I've had success with other types of medicine. So I hope that you look into this. You know, this is why also too anti-vaxxers are on the global threat list, because we are in an age where we can share information with each other, right? You don't have to go to the library and look at microfiche. You don't have to hunt. All these medical books and studies are now online, or you can find where you can, if they're not online, you can easily locate them and read them, right? There's so much medical literature, especially with polio and smallpox, that has been hidden from the public, that I'm about to make a video about in a few weeks. But these are legit medical journals where they just cut stuff out and then they just show you the PR version of what happened with polio and what happened with smallpox, okay? And they're not telling you the whole story. So I invite you to please research with me, because that's all I want to do. I just want to empower people. I want to live in a society where, you know, there's not sickness, there's not autoimmune diseases. And when we're in a society where there's not sickness, then we can, you know, reach for the stars. We can go places. We're not worried about sickness. We're not spending our budget on like a health plan. You know, we're focused. We're in clarity. We're happy. You know, when you're not sick, when you're healthy, you're very happy. You're very energetic. So, dang, this video is long, but okay. I think I'm gonna stop it right here. I will have more to come. Thank you for all of your support, for the people that have been supporting me. Thank you. I appreciate the people too that think maybe I'm a little nuts. or they don't agree with me completely, but are still respectful about it. I can respect that, because I know I take a very radical stance, but I think if you kind of stick with me and kind of look into some of the stuff I'm talking about, hopefully I will win you over. And my intentions are well. So, all right, guys, that's all I got to say. Car video again. But anyway, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace and love. Bye-bye. Mwah.